because certain leaders of the tribes after the cataclysms, they fucking capitalized on the situation. The Druids didn't, man. The Druids were like, we're going to form rituals and utilize earth energies in order to the best of our abilities, get things back in order, get people back into alignment as best as possible, as quick as possible. Whereas over in other parts of the world, you had chiefs, tribal chiefs, and whatever, and said, all right, this is protocol for tyranny because it's justified. Look what just happened. So, you ever notice how certain measures, which are supposed to be temporary, just keep perpetuating themselves? You know how that happens? Like,
in the present?
yeah, to flatten the curve.
Oh, yes, of course.
Well,
Right.
dude, this is an old story, man. This is a replay, dude. This is a rerun. You had these chiefs popping up, and they sort of ruled with an iron fist, and they did a lot of things which regimented the people under them. But they could justify it because, well, it's justified. Look at what just happened. I need to control you guys.
Yeah.
You guys can't feed yourselves. You guys can't get your own shit together. You need a big dick fucking dude up at the top controlling your ass. That way we can at least survive. And
What do you have you heard of Winwood Reade, Veil of Isis, and his introduction into the Druids?
Yeah, got that one.
Yeah, and it interests me a lot. This point of corruption, finding out that the Druids weren't these holy great men, of renown as what we may have thought, or maybe they were, but we also have to allow for other views, like the Archmagus of the Druids was the living embodiment of Hermes, and he had more power than the Pope. And yeah, you have to understand what power the Pope has in the beginning to understand just how powerful this individual was, and also how power corrupts individuals, and make allowances in your head for any rose-tinted glasses views of our ancient brethren. It might not be roses. It might be like TV shows like Britannia, where they show this quite corrupted form of Druidry. Quite recent show called Britannia. It's about the conquest of Britain by Rome. In its own MTV style way, it shows you how the ancient Druids of Britain were. It also depicts them as degenerates as well, but it mixes truth with complete fantasy and denigration as well. But getting slowly off topic here, but yes, these powerful individuals in ancient civilizations, let's just say that the tribes that survived the fallout of the great cataclysms, it wasn't a great time for mankind. A lot of things went down that we'll never be able to find out about.
There's those two strains of thought which emerged after the cataclysm. One was, all right, we try to bring things back into order and alignment like they were before, because they went from living in paradise to cataclysm to post-cataclysm. So certain leaders popped up and said, let's try to get back to that paradise that we were living in. Well, other leaders said, well, hey, these people need somebody to control them, or else they won't be able to survive. Now that's given them a lot of grace. Well, they never relinquished that power, which was perhaps necessary at the beginning stages.
Yeah.
They said, oh, shit, this is actually pretty nice, having all of these people under my control. What happened, what unfolded over the next 4,000 years, which was, according to Connor McDarry, historical revisionist, he sees a different picture than what we think of all these different chopped up instances. You have the destruction of the Druids. It basically started like in 18th dynasty. You had the Druids, and they were attempting to set things back into alignment. They were the hub of the ancient world, the Celtic Empire. The hub was Ireland. That's where Tara was, And Connor McDarry says that it was Rome. So when Julius Caesar went out and spent 8 years killing every Celtic person he could find in Europe and Britain until he finally just basically wiped them all out, because every fighting age male in Celtic Europe had to show up for battle.
Yeah.
In one massive surge, and they lost. So that put Europe under Roman domination. Well, 400 years later, the Roman Empire collapsed and the church rose up and basically continued off where Rome had left off as far as killing pagans. We usually view that as two separate epochs of time. Connor McDarry says no, it's just a continuation of the original goal, which was to get to Ireland. Ireland was the ecclesiastical hub, meaning it was like the Washington D.C., so to speak, of the world, of ancient times. But they were trying to do their shit right and reinstitute the paradise that was there before the cataclysm. Rome wanted to be the Washington D.C., so they had to get rid of Ireland. So that's what all that was about. That's why they spent 400 years sending legions upon legions upon legions to subdue all of the pagans in Europe. And they switched strategies and formed the Christian church. So the Christian church just picked up where they left off, but they needed that. They couldn't make a church if Ireland was still there, because Ireland being where the Druids were coming from, nobody would listen to fuck all you had to say about anything spiritual if there were Druids around, because Druids could put their asses to shame any day of the week, because the Druids were Druids would attempt to reveal the mysteries of the universe to you, whereas these other mystery schools, they just want you to slave your way through the initiation degrees, where you look at Freemasonry, you just become more and more of a slave every time you get a new degree, or any of these secret societies. You just give up more and more of your soul, and they never get anything in return spiritually.
Yeah.
They say that they're going to eventually when you reach the final degrees, it will reveal the mysteries to you. You never fucking learn any of the mysteries of the universe.
All I gotta say about ancient Ireland is all you have to do is take a look at the tarot, and you can understand that it was a very sacred place, and they had ways of getting in touch with practical ways that have actually lasted on throughout the ages. It used to be called the Book of Life in Ireland, I believe, and it was a way of, the only way I could describe it as a categorization of archetypal forces in the human psyche, and also how that relates to astrology, the movement of celestial bodies, and also how they are a part of us and their movements are going through us. It's not just their movements are inside, they're inside us. It's not just like a solar system out there that's having an effect. It's like we have our own solar system. We have our own hierarchy of archetypal energies that have to be expressed or worked out. And this comes from cataclysms. It comes from catastrophe. It comes from general human experience, everyday experience. And I've heard that, I don't know if this is the right word, but I've heard that the Druids were the creators of that system, particularly used in the divination arts, and being able to, I don't know, give a little forecast of events that may arise as cycles of time. In a normal wave on the ocean, it's going to have a rise and a fall, and it was simply a way of measuring those and being able to give a prediction, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of I'm sure that they had a lot going on, man. They were very scientific. We can't really know. It's hard to say, man. You just look at the mathematics that they had access to. Incredible. These stone circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the dark side of it as well. Commons Beaumont talks about how they had Druidic, otherwise known as Druid Fire or Druid Lightning. It was called Druidic, and somehow they knew how to make firearms, right? According to Commons Beaumont.
Yeah, and I think he says that that's why the Romans never invaded or were able to really hold territory in Scotland or Ireland when they were trying to take over. It's because they had firearms.
That changes things a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That changes our view about things.
Bury a landmine, so when the Roman legion comes marching through, boom.
Yep.
That'll change the tactics a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen Lord of the Rings, where these berserkers, these berserker orcs, they've got bombs strapped to their backs. They blow up Helm's Deep. I mean, that right there is whistleblowing a lot of ancient knowledge that we're not privy to. We think that China invented gunpowder or something like that, you know, somewhere in the in the last 1,000 years, when it goes way back, and the knowledge of it comes from exploding volcanoes, and we don't know any of this really. We don't have any knowledge of it. We have things like Lord of the Rings, which hints at it. There's The Witcher, which, for a more recent example, showcases at the end of season 1 a scene where these druid priestesses are making up grenades, Molotov cocktails, only more explosive, and they're just lobbing them at the enemies. Black magic, firearms. Have you ever seen the movie Noah?
No.
By Darren Aronofsky?
No.
No. Well, this movie, another one you should really, really watch. It has scenes of angels, golden angels in the atmosphere, and they fall through the sky as meteors, shooting stars, and then they crash as balls of like lava, magma, and then they transform into these rock giants, these creepy, glowy-eyed rock giants that help destroy all of the evil humans. And right at the beginning of the movie, it shows Methuselah take out a sword, which turns into a firebrand, and has this wave of fire wipe out this horde of people, while these rock giants, which were meteors, which were golden angels, while these are standing behind it or beside him. This happens within like a minute or so, but it's one hell of a scene. And I saw that and I was like, this is whistleblowing something huge. I mean, this guy, Darren Aronofsky, I wouldn't be surprised if he's read Commons Beaumont and he's taken inspiration from it, because it's so on point. And it's a really great movie if you can get over some of the cheesiness of it, you know. But yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think? You need to see this movie, bro.
Reminds me of some of the formations over here in America, like some of these weird rocks or taken out in the desert, you know, look like these giants standing there. Yeah.
Well, think about what Commons Beaumont talks about when he talks about Mount Prometheus teaching Deucalion or warning Deucalion that a flood was on the way. And then you have like films like Noah, which shows his grandfather gives him some kind of psychoactive substance, and he starts tripping, and this trip God warns him that a flood is on the way. Like this film, it just whistleblows so much in it. You know, the people who try and take Noah down, who try and shut down his ship project, his Ark project, they're cannibals. Part of their whole shtick is talking about how the world has just ruined them. God has ruined them and made them wrong, and just abused them, and like almost like they deserve to be wiped out. Again, going back to this catastrophic mindset, just how much of it is whistleblown in Hollywood movies alone, you know, and people still just watch the movies as if it's some kind of, you know, you're entertaining. Oh, this is a new take on a biblical story, and yet, and I'm sitting there going, this Do you realize the significance of what this guy's showing you right now? There's very few people that get it.
They should just come out and explain it. Stop trying to encode it. I mean, there's people in the background who are leaking all this. Just come out, tell people what you know. Fuck it, let people deal with it. At least then, you know.
Can we talk about something like something really crazy and outlandish? Okay, so you know how Commons Beaumont talks about